The revolution is no longer a whisper, it's a battle cry that echoes through the ruins of a broken nation. In Mockingjay, the final book in Suzanne Collins' Hunger Games trilogy, Katniss Everdeen becomes more than just a girl with a bow. She becomes the face of a revolution, a symbol of rebellion, and a reluctant leader in a war that threatens to consume everything and everyone she loves. If you thought the games were over, think again. The capital may have burned District 12 to ashes, but it underestimated the fire it ignited in Katniss. This is not just a fight for survival. It's a fight for freedom, justice, and truth in a world built on lies. The story begins with a broken girl standing among the wreckage of her home. District 12 has been obliterated by the capital's bombs, reduced to rubble and ruin. Katniss survives, thanks to the rebels of District 13 long believed to be extinct, but now revealed as the center of resistance. However, survival comes at a cost. Peeta has been captured by the capital and is being used as a pawn in a brutal game of psychological warfare. Katniss is not just traumatized. She's torn between guilt, fear, and rage. She is no longer the tribute in an arena, but a symbol, the Mockingjay, chosen to rally the districts to rise against their oppressor. President Coin, the calculating and ambitious leader of District 13, sees in Katniss a weapon, not a person. She wants Katniss to star in a series of propaganda videos to stir the hearts of the oppressed and bring unity to the rebellion. Katniss reluctantly agrees, but only on her terms. She demands that the other victors, especially Peeta, Johanna, and Annie, be granted immunity when the war is over. She also wants the right to personally kill President Snow. Coin agrees, but her motivations are always laced with ambiguity and suspicion. As the rebellion gains momentum, Katniss begins to see the horrors of war up close. District by district, the rebels fight back, and each battle brings casualties, pain, and moral ambiguity. The capital retaliates fiercely, unleashing bombings, mass executions, and propaganda of its own. Peeta is paraded on television, clearly tortured and brainwashed, urging a ceasefire and pleading with Katniss to stop the violence. His face is pale, his eyes hollow, and his words laced with terror. Katniss is haunted by his suffering, even as the rebel forces press forward. Eventually, a daring mission is launched to rescue Peeta and the other captured victors from the capital. The mission succeeds, but the reunion is not what Katniss hoped for. Peeta has been hijacked, a form of torture that involves venom-induced memory alteration. He now sees Katniss as the enemy and tries to kill her on sight. This shatters her, even more than the bombing of her district. The boy who once vowed to protect her at all costs now fears and hates her. Katniss's world grows darker as she struggles to deal with Peeta's condition. The horrors of war and the manipulations of Coin and the rebel leadership. She is forced to participate in more propo, showing her on the front lines in devastated districts, witnessing the destruction the capital has wrought. Slowly, she begins to find her voice, not just as a figurehead, but as a leader who sees the true cost of war. Her experiences transform her from a reluctant hero into a warrior with a clear purpose. As the rebels reach the capital, the war becomes more brutal. The city is laced with deadly pods, traps that mirror the horrors of the Hunger Games. Katniss joins a special squad that includes Gale Peeta Finnick and other soldiers tasked with forging a path to President Snow's mansion. They call it a Star Squad, but it quickly becomes a suicide mission. One by one, squad members are picked off by explosions, mutts, and traps until only a handful survive. Along the way, Katniss begins to see a side of Gale that disturbs her. He is willing to use brutal tactics, including a plan that involves setting off a bomb to kill capital children, and then a second bomb to kill the rescuers. It's a strategy that feels too much like the capital's own cruelty. Katniss starts to question if they are becoming the very enemy they seek to destroy. Her trust in Gale begins to erode, and the once unbreakable bond between them frays under the weight of war. The squad eventually reaches the mansion, but not without devastating losses. Finnick is killed in a horrifying underground battle, and Katniss is mentally and physically scarred. As the capital falls and the rebels prepare to take control, Snow announces that he has been defeated, but in the moment of supposed victory, tragedy strikes. A hovercraft drops parachutes loaded with explosives onto a crowd of capital children. As medics rush to help, including Prim Katniss's beloved sister, a second explosion detonates. Prim is killed in the blast. Katniss is paralyzed with grief. The sister she risked everything for is gone. In the aftermath, she confronts Snow, who tells her something chilling. The bombing that killed Prim wasn't his doing. It was Coin's. The act was meant to turn the capital citizens against Snow and justify Coin's rise to power. Katniss begins to see the horrifying truth. Coin is no different than Snow. She's just another tyrant who seeks to rule through manipulation, fear, and violence. During Snow's public execution, Katniss is given the honor of delivering the final blow with her arrow. But in a stunning twist, she shoots Coin instead, killing her instantly. Chaos erupts and Snow dies moments later, laughing and choking on his own blood. Katniss is immediately arrested, but rather than execute her, the new leadership lets her go quietly, understanding that her public martyrdom would only incite further unrest. Katniss is sent back to District 12, where she wanders through her empty home haunted by ghosts of the past. She is broken, isolated, and lost. But slowly, Peeta returns to her, not as the boy he once was, but as someone scarred and reshaped by war, just like her. Together they begin to heal. They plant primroses in memory of Prim and learn to live with the trauma that has redefined them. In time, Katniss and Peeta build a new life. They have children, and though Katniss worries about the world they've brought them into, she holds onto hope. Hope that the games will never return. Hope that children will never again be pawns in a war between tyrants. Hope that fire can destroy, but it can also warm and heal. Mockingjay is a story about war and what it does to people. It's about the gray areas of morality, the corruption of power, and the weight of loss. But more than anything, it's about resilience. Katniss Everdeen is not a perfect hero. She is flawed, stubborn, angry, and deeply human. And that is what makes her journey unforgettable. Suzanne Collins doesn't offer a neatly wrapped conclusion or a fairy tale ending. What she offers instead is a raw, emotional, and honest portrayal of what it means to fight for freedom and to survive its cost. The final book in the Hunger Games trilogy doesn't just close a chapter. It burns it down and rebuilds it from the ashes. From the ashes of District 12 to the heart of the capital, from love twisted by trauma to leadership poisoned by ambition. Mockingjay delivers a powerful punch that lingers long after the final page. This is not just the end of a trilogy. It's a brutal, heartbreaking, and ultimately hopeful testament to the strength of the human spirit. If you're ready for a story that rips open the truth behind revolutions, that explores love in the darkest of places, and that shows how one girl's fire sparked the downfall of an empire, Mockingjay is the story you've been waiting for. It's not just the end, it's the beginning of something greater. If you want to listen full audiobook for free, link in description.